Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live breakdown for the 2025 Oscar nominations. What a day it has been. Lots of surprises, lots of fun stuff. Um, Thank you to everyone joining us in the chat. Hello, Rodney. Hello, Ayush.
Woo!
OG.
Thank you.
Thank you for the super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Can't stay for long. Just wanted to say thanks for the content. Nominees to be determined is the MVP. Yes, as we saw in our reaction. I'm Still Here might be the craziest Best Picture nom of the last decade in terms of odds, and Emilia Perez is winning Best Picture. Well, I think we agree with both of those last sentiments. I
We
still
shall
think Emilia Perez
see.
is winning. We'll see when we get to our breakdown of each category
Hmm.
what we think is winning, what's the big surprises, all that stuff.
Yeah, we
But
we still got
yeah,
more than a month to go. A lot can happen.
that's true. That's true. A lot can happen. But yeah, I would agree. I think I'm Still Here is the biggest Best Picture surprise of the last decade for sure.
There have been some others. I mean, you can go depending on the odds. Maybe you're right. This has, but I mean, odds wise, it was in that 11 to 15 range. I feel because it had
I
such
feel like it was
strong
like
support.
15 though.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I think it was just so surprising given that it didn't really have a lot of precursors, but it was one of those weird movies that felt like it didn't need the precursors to have like conversation. I think that was the Golden Globe win for Fernando Torres did a lot. And this movie did a really solid campaign in this like mini phase. And I think if anybody benefited from the extension of the nomination period, it was I'm Still Here. They got a lot of
Oh
mileage
yeah.
out of Fernanda Torres going and do interviews. I got to attend a screening with her and Balter Salas, so that was fantastic.
I'm watching it
So
tonight.
yes,
Thank God.
it couldn't happen to a nicer movie. I'm wearing green, I will say, in honor of the Brazilian flag, and I'm still here. But
Oh,
of course,
yes,
it's
but it's
also
wicked.
my wicked sweater.
Yes, yes. Mostly wicked. Okay, yeah, I think thank you, Ayush. Yes, nominees to be determined. I don't think we've ever run into that in the previous nominations, at least that volume of them. But okay, let's get into yes, congrats to thoughts on Felicity Jones and Adrian Brody using AI.
We're gonna get to that.
We'll get to it in
We'll
each individual category when we talk about if that will hurt their chances, but it's a discussion to be had for sure. Let's start with the big one, Best Picture. As we said, Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part Two, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. Um, the big misses here, I think, are Real Pain and Sing Sing are the ones that people had. I think that those were the 9 and 10 in the overall top 10 predicted in the odds. Um, the insane surprise is I'm Still Here. So let's start with that. So I'm Still Here. I think it was ranked 15 in terms of the odds. I didn't see most people predicting it. It wasn't really expected, but I think that just speaks to one. I think given everything that happened within like the last few weeks, I think the international members who are less affected by everything that's going on definitely had a little more weight this year and came out in full force. And I think that helps a movie like I'm Still Here. I also just think also with Nickel Boys, I'm Still Here and Nickel Boys have a lot more number one passion votes, I think, than definitely A Real Pain, which I think people like Real Pain, but I think that will be in the middle of lots of people's when they rank it in their nominations for their ballot. Um, and Sing Sing, I don't know. I would think it would have been a lot of people's number one favorite, but maybe not. And maybe there's still a visibility issue with it. But yeah, I think those are the other ones I think are all expected, but those two surprises. What are your thoughts on those two?
Yeah, I think ultimately the release kind of hurt Sing Sing. It made it a low priority screener, especially for A24. I mean, they obviously had a new priority come the festival circuit when they decided to take on the Brutalist. I, as far as a real pain, I agree. It's surprising that Searchlight wasn't able to better support that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It might just speak to they're having an off year for their slate because they had that and Night Bitch. But that was surprising. The other thing why, and I think this was my reasoning for putting it in, and I think you maybe agreed with this, is that it's going to most likely win a top category. It's going to win Best Supporting Actor. We'll see if
Yeah.
that changes now. But that's what was surprising, that for a movie to have such a runaway favorite in one of the top categories, for that just seemed like it would do well here. But I'm not all that surprised because it is a slight little movie. It leans a little bit more on the comedy side, which always they tend to have a bias against. And it still did well. I mean, it got screenplay, it got supporting actor.
Hmm.
You know, it was represented here today. Nickel Boys only got one other nomination, right?
Exactly. It's the
For
women talking package, which
yes,
we talked
yeah.
about. Amazon MGM can still just barely get it, even if it's just adapted screenplay. But
Oh God.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, we both predicted that. Anthony came over, if you watched
yes,
our predictions video, to the Nickel Boys side. And yeah, like I talked about in that video, it's just simply the passion, which we said with I'm Still Here, that those number ones on your ballots are what will get you in there. You need to be somebody's favorite, lots of people's
yeah.
favorites.
And
Um,
I think with Nickel
yeah.
Boys, the thing that ended up swaying me was that it's most likely going to win DGA First Time Feature. And when you win one of the two awards from the Directors Guild, I mean, it means that you're well known and you have passion. And I think people were leaning into that more so than
Hmm.
Sing Sing. And I think Coleman has now proven that like he's just such a wonderful dynamic actor that he can just stand on his own, which I think is frankly remarkable for black talent because usually that's not the case. Usually, like if they're
Yeah.
standing alone, they get forgotten. I mean, we're now this is the second time Daniel Deadweiler has been in the race and has fallen up short.
Yep.
And it's a shame because she's usually out there on her own. She doesn't usually have the support behind her. But Coleman seems to be in a different class when it comes to this stuff. People just pay attention to the guy and deservedly so. I mean, he definitely gave one of the top 5 performances of the actors of the year.
Yes. Agreed. Now let's talk about what's the rankings here, as people are asking. Is it Amelia Perez versus Brutalist? Now that the official list is out, which films benefit most from the preferential method? I would say your top 5 here. Like if this was a year of 5 in Best Picture, I would say you have Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, and Amelia Perez. But you would probably say Wicked instead of which one?
I mean, I think the editing nomination, which I predicted, I was very happy. That's probably my
Yes.
favorite nomination of the day because it made me not look like a quack.
It was a good.
But
I think you were one of few to make that prediction.
yeah, I think Wicked getting in there, does you always like look at directing and you look at editing, and you tend to think like there's your strength there. I wouldn't object necessarily to A Complete Unknown being in 5 and Wicked being 6 because A Complete Unknown did get directing and screenplay, which Wicked did not, and you would have to
Hmm.
go back to Grand Hotel to find a movie win Best Picture without getting nominated in either, and that's like within the
Oh
first
yeah.
like 10 15 years of the Academy Awards. So I think it's unlikely. I do think Wicked benefits from the preferential system. I'm really interested to see what PGA does and what SAG does. I think Wicked would have to win both to sort of build this momentum, and I think that's probably unlikely. So yeah, I'm going to agree with your 5 there. But I mean, it did get 10 nominations. It's
Yeah.
none of those are the songs. I think that's why like when you look at Barbie and you take out the 2 songs that it got nominated for, which Wicked doesn't have any original songs to compete there. Barbie had 6 Academy Award nominations in all the other categories, and Wicked had 10. So Wicked did do better than Barbie. I think this performance, to me, Barbie didn't get into editing. Wicked did. It did have a great morning, um, but I still think that they're going to be happy with 2 craft wins in costume design and production design, because something's going to have to go awfully wrong for Cynthia and Ariana, I think, to really start to pick up
Yeah.
speed. I mean, maybe SAG can change that around. We'll see. I do think there is more to the acting races post this morning
I
than we might
agree.
have thought there was this morning. So that's really exciting.
I'm not
And
confident about any of them really. So
yeah, Fernanda Torres, man, I'm so happy.
yeah,
I mean, it's
it's a surprise.
once you see it, you're gonna be blown away.
I'm excited. I'm very excited for it for sure. And yeah, as lots of people are selling a very celebratory day here. Not here, there in Brazil. Um, okay. And what are you saying is winning right now? Best Picture.
I mean, I agree with some of our commenters. I don't know if the AI scandal with Brutalist is going to stick around.
I doubt it.
I do.
The
I
industry
doubt it.
accepts AI more than the internet does, I would say.
Yes, it seems. Well, we're going to find out.
Yeah.
And also, Amelia Perez has also apparently been hurt with the same thing, them fixing
Yeah.
actresses,
It's
I
just
believe.
Amelia Perez has
So
a lot of stuff going
yeah,
against it.
it just yes,
One of
Brutalist is
many.
like this. We're putting it on a high pedestal. Um, so I see. This is you talk about your paths, and I think Brutalist
Hmm.
is going to be strong with directors, and I think Brutalist is going to be strong with actors within the Academy because they're going
Hmm.
to obviously Adrian Brody's in contention
I think
for the
we,
Oscars. Like, and then you have crafts. You have more
yeah.
crafts when it comes to top tier cinematography, editing. It got in. wary of that because of the length of the film. It did get in there. So there's a lot of places for The Brutalist to build momentum. And I do think it's possible because I frankly can't remember the last time that a movie like Amelia Perez has come around with such like disdain. Like
Hmm.
it's one like I understand we've had Green Books, we've had Bohemian Rhapsodies, other movies that weren't released in 2018. Um,
Yeah.
but this just feels different. I can't explain it, and I'm interested because I think what happened with a lot of those movies is that the people who liked it got offended with the controversy. I don't know if that's going to happen with Amelia Perez, and it's almost like, well, you think this is a problem? There, Best Picture. I don't know if Amelia Perez is going to incite that sort of reaction from the voters. That's why I'm
Hmm.
curious with SAG. I think if Wicked pulls off the ensemble win at SAG, that maybe says more about Amelia Perez than it does about Wicked because it just shows
Yeah.
that there isn't as much support for that ensemble, an ensemble that's not only a true ensemble. I mean, your lead performance is in the supporting category, but
Hmm.
it also speaks to what SAG a lot of times does, which is they're very aware of the cultural um, award. Like they want to push the envelope. They want to say something. That's why Black Panther won. That's why Parasite won and Coda. If Amelia Perez does not follow in that tradition, then you can see the race shake up. So right now, I think we both agree it's down to those two. We'll see. I know there's a
Hmm.
lot of Honora fans that could happen. It's it's
I
it's
just
it's
don't
interesting.
see the passion for it. I mean, it didn't really miss anything today. I just don't. I don't know. When we talk about the path to Best Picture, it would really just be screenplay and picture, which happens, but that's usually not something you should bet on. You should usually bet it getting something else. Like you could say
Yeah,
Conclave could get that too. Conclave also kind of underperformed, missing directing at cinematography, a few different stuff. So I would say that was
yeah.
my number two originally. I'd say that took a hit a little lower. Um, yeah, I would say
There
it's
there are
between those two.
those there are those that will say Mikey Madison could round out your Honora, you know,
I don't think so.
strategy. But I I alluded to this last time. I just think there's not going to be the same desire to see Mikey Madison win as there will be obviously for Fernando Torres now, obviously for Demi Moore, Carlos Sofia Gasson, and I honestly think Cynthia Erivo. There are
Hmm.
going to be more people that would rather see her win than Mikey Madison. It's just crazy to think given the season, but we were always in this space. I kind of think Mikey Madison's
I'd say
fifth,
she's.
and it's
I'd say fourth. I'd still say that she's above Carla, but the rest I would say she's below in
interesting.
terms of a
So
win.
wait, so I'm just not to bring you back. So you thought
Yeah.
Cynthia was sixth yesterday, and now you think she's third.
Well, no, I said yesterday or whenever we did our predictions. Well, we talked yesterday too. Um, that I think she's getting nominated. I was just hedging my bets on which one of the Fernando Torres or Baptiste got in, and I couldn't. I knew it was going to be. I kind of deep down knew it was going to be Torres and Revo. I just couldn't not have my five include Baptiste, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, I would say I'd actually probably lean the Brutalist. It's interesting. Every single one of these films has something going against them, so it's not like I'm not very confident about it at all. But I think we also saw that the people take maybe SAG a little too seriously. I think sometimes people forget that SAG is a body of 160,000 people with very different taste than the actors branch of the Academy. The Academy overall is 10,000 people, so it's already much smaller. And then the actors branch is the biggest branch. I think it's probably around like 2,000, 3,000, maybe a little more. Um, so it's a much smaller group, and I think they have a more prestigious, refined taste, I would say, than SAG overall, which is more populist. And I think that's how you see SAG only got one Brutalist actor, and then here all three of them end up getting in. So that shows strength for the Brutalist within the acting branch here.
Yeah,
So I would say
I
the
think
Brutalist.
we got to look at PGA because PGA has the same voting method.
Mm-hmm.
They do a preferential ballot. I think that'll really open things up and allow us to see if Amelia Perez does well at PGA, then I kind of think
Oh,
that it's over.
if
Um,
Amelia Perez wins PGA, the international film, then yes, I think it's
yeah.
over at that point.
Um,
Um,
I do think,
Also worth
though,
mentioning, no, most people weren't expecting it's getting an editing nomination, and that is very important. It could win. Who knows what will win that category? We'll get to that. But yeah.
I also don't. I know there's a lot of. Listen, you were part of this bandwagon, and it did well. And I think a lot of people post the directing nom are thinking, "Oh, Complete Unknown's on the rise." I don't see that. I don't see that being a
For a
sort of movie
win?
that,
No.
yeah, that gets a win. Yes, it did well at the box office, and yes, it got some surprise nominations. I think even you were surprised to see Monica Barbaro.
Yeah.
That's you were predicting it in all these categories, and then the
I
one
should
that
have.
surprises.
I wanted to so bad, but I should go with my heart sometimes more than the stats, but the stats were like just a SAG nomination. That's not going to happen. but
I didn't
I should
even
have.
I didn't realize how excited I would be for Monica Barbara, but when you can watch
Yeah,
our reaction, I was very happy to see her nominated.
yeah.
But yeah, I just don't see that being the sort of like I don't see that as a film that will actually like make its way to Best Picture. You might say that the odds favor it, you know, because it has the directing nomination, but I don't know.
Mhm.
It doesn't seem like the type of movie. Like there are other, like even Conclave, I can imagine
Has
winning
a
Best
biopic
Picture.
ever won Best Picture? A music biopic? I just don't think
Oh,
that's something.
I was about to say a
A
biopic did.
biopic,
It won
yes,
last
but
year.
a music biopic, unless Oppenheimer was a musical. Um,
It's a good
no, I
question.
don't think so. It's not the kind of thing that I think garners that level of passion. For performances, yes, or maybe some tech elements, but for Best Picture, I don't think that really
Well, it's
happens.
just like what about this one person's life in the music industry like matters to that degree that it should win Best Picture. Now, when the Taylor Swift biopic is made, maybe that'll win Best Picture. But
Who
I
will
don't
play
know. I
Taylor
feel like
Swift? Who knows?
maybe Ariana Grande should play herself, and that's how she wins her
Oh,
Oscar because it's
I
not going
don't
to
think
happen in
that
the
will
movie.
happen. But I also do want to address in some of the comments, people were thinking, love your Wicked look, but some people think I
Thank
hate
you.
Wicked based off my reactions. I was screaming and upset during score because of challengers. Not be, it happened when Wicked was
Yeah.
announced that I was upset, but it wasn't because
Yes.
of Wicked. But
No.
yeah,
Also, I apologize because I think my enthusiasm makes you look
makes me
like a
look even
curmudgeon.
worse. Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
Because I'm
We have
so
both ends.
happy for the movie
Yeah.
that I like. You got to remember, I was like 8 years old on IMDb looking for like
Hmm.
just thinking if I type Wicked into IMDb, then the movie will just exist.
Yeah.
So I waited a long time for this, and I'm very happy. 10 Oscar nominations.
Hmm. Yeah. It's exciting. Um, Let us move along to Best Director. Let's zoom in a little. Jack Audiard, Sean Baker, Brady Corbet, Corley Farja, and James Mangold. I think that obviously we already talked about Edward Berger, the big miss here. I didn't think he was gonna. I just felt like he was. We talked about this. Kenneth Branagh in Belfast, or Martin McDonagh for Banshees, where he like missed for the first one, but he came around for the second time around. But I guess I can kind of see it. It's not like the most directory kind of thing, and the director's branch in particular goes for like more international kind of fare, which we see with Audiard here and Farja, which makes Mangold stand out even more, because like I would not say that's even like close to his best directed effort. Like I like Logan more, I liked Ford v Ferrari more. I think those are more impressive directing achievements, but I think it speaks to how um people really like this film more than those other films. But
And it's
yeah.
his first nomination. I think the directing branch
Hmm.
feeling like this is somebody who has like paid his dues. And I mean, the thing about A Complete Unknown is that yes, it's a traditional biopic, but I also think like it's not like we're covering like this major pop star. Like I do think the movie gets at the heart of the folk scene and the transition from like the Americana folk music of like the 50s and 60s into the rock and roll 60s age that to some degree we've never left. We're
Hmm.
still in the aftermath of the Beatles and everything. And so I think maybe voters uh, connected with that. I also think we've been talking about this when it comes to the actors, supporting actress in particular. Amelia Perez, Honora, The Substance, even The Brutalist to a degree, like they just feel very like they cater more to a younger audience. The reason I say that with The
Hmm.
Brutalist is I do think like Brady Corbet is this up and coming filmmaker. There's a lot about how this is a new voice, and so there's something about James Mangold being this, you know, this Hollywood veteran in a way. He does big movies. I mean, he's coming off of Indiana Jones 5, and he then goes and
Yeah.
makes, an Oscar frontrunner. And so I think they respond to that and that sort of craftsmanship. I want to ask you,
Hmm.
why have we counted out Jacques Audiard from winning this category if they love this movie so much?
I don't think we should. I think it's clearly between Audiard or Corbet. Congrats to everyone else. I don't think they really have a shot at winning. Um, he could, like, if it's winning Best Picture. I keep bringing up Chicago, how it could win editing and sound and supporting actress, and it doesn't need director or screenplay. But if it's gonna win one of those two that most movies need to win Best Picture, it will win directing before it wins screenplay. And uh, as we see with the nominations, the Academy continues to get more international every year. He is a very respected international director. Um, it could be him, but I just feel like I don't know. It depends how much people let this AI thing. I don't think the AI thing will affect the Brutalist, but
Mhm.
I don't know. It's tricky. I'm still gonna stick with Corbet, but I do see a very clear path for Audiard to win. But I don't think he'll win DGA. I feel like DGA will definitely be Corbet.
Yeah,
Anything? Yeah.
I mean, it got 13 nominations, one shy of the
Hmm.
record. I believe it makes it the most nominated non-English film in Oscar history. And so it just seems to me we shouldn't be counting this out as much as
No.
people want to, because I mean, you whether you like it or not, and I don't think we represent the extremes of either. But it
No.
if the movie has this level of passion, it just seems odd that for a movie of that scale, it being a musical, like it fits in a lot of boxes of previous winners. So
It does.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's a world maybe
It's
where it
possible.
wins. What would be crazy if that Jacques Audiard wins directing, but then Brutalist or something else wins picture. Maybe they feel like this is Amelia Perez's, like this is where they honor in a top category, because that's the really the question: is it going to peak? I mean, La La Land, of course, peaked, but I think
Hmm.
what helped La La Land lose its momentum is that there was a clear alternative. If you didn't like La La Land, then you were going to get behind Moonlight, and it really came down to those two movies. Um, we have to see if Brutalist can really mount that, or another movie can, because I think that is the way to bring down Amelia Perez. If not, I just think it's going to be too wide open, and then Amelia Perez might just go all the way to Oscar glory.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's definitely, and it's interesting because both those films I think are each more divisive than La La Land or Moonlight. So
Yeah,
it'll be
we
interesting
had no idea.
how bad it was gonna get. Yeah. Yeah, I would say it'll be close, but I'm gonna stick with Corbet for now because I think the only place I would say Audiard could win is probably BAFTA because it did do well there. But who knows?
With the
We'll see.
song, doesn't he have lyric credit on El Mal?
Maybe I don't know. Possibly. If so, then he will at least have one Oscar, and it'll win even though it doesn't go to the director, it'll win international, and he'll give a speech then. So
Mhm.
he'll have that too, and if it wins Best Picture, he'll give a speech. So, moving on, actor in a leading role.
Just real quick, just a fun stat.
Yeah.
I believe this is the first time in, like, I think since 1998. It's been a while that we have all first time nominees in directing. So, um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Congrats to all of them. Yeah. And Villeneuve, our only option this year, I think. So, yep, we'll see with the third one. But actor in a leading role: Adrian Brody, Timothy Chalamet, Coleman Domingo, Ray Fiennes. Everyone expected those four, and then Sebastian Stan managed to get in for The Apprentice, kicking out Daniel Craig. Who it's Daniel Craig's path this year is just so interesting to me. If you ask me the one place he won't hit, I would say he's not going to get the SAG nomination. He'll definitely get BAFTA, and then he ends up missing BAFTA, and he gets in at SAG, and the strongest place he ends up being is SAG of all places. That's just so weird to me. I think it just speaks to more people, I guess, wanted more people, I guess, just liked The Apprentice as a film overall more. I think Queer is a very divisive film, and I don't know, maybe it's harder for people to put in the screener and watch than The Apprentice, which is about Trump, which also speaks to the moment. It's kind of like a vote against him in a way. So I guess that's why it happened. I'm very happy it happened. He's one of my favorite performances of the year. I mean, so was Craig, but I really what he did in that film is quite impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, this I think would be my five. Um, the only thing I might switch is maybe I would have nominated Timothy for Dune instead of A Complete
Yeah,
Unknown, but I know that's
I
not the
would
Oscar
agree.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think when it came down to Sebastian Stan, the two things that really got in my way were that I did worry that he would be. Some people would nominate him for this, some people would nominate
Hmm.
him for A Different Man, which is what he won the Globe for, and it would cancel each other out. And then it was hard to get a jive on where the industry was when it came to Donald Trump. In the week
Hmm.
of his second inauguration, how did they feel about keeping him in this conversation? And I think that many people were pointing to the fact that nobody wanted to do the actors on actors conversation with
That
Sebastian
helped
Stan.
him so much.
But I think that was a public thing, and they could vote for this movie in private, and then
Hmm.
that's what maybe ended up happening. I also think, as we said in our Globes coverage, it was very smart of him to mention The Apprentice in his winning speech, because it brought more attention to the movie. I also think he owes a lot to Jeremy Strong being such a lock in supporting actor,
Yeah.
and doing well at SAG, because it meant that movie was already being talked about and seen, which Queer obviously wasn't. And
Yeah.
so, Yeah, it's a shame for Daniel Craig still without a nomination. I'm sure one day it'll happen. But I'm very happy for Sebastian Stan, an actor who has, I think, been
He had a
circling
great
this
year.
like upgrade to his career, and he just definitely deserved it for. I mean, to take somebody that we all know so well, and you see him plant the seeds into the person that it was just I thought a
And
masterful
it's not
performance.
like a caricature. It was great. It was
Yeah,
an
wasn't
incredible
a
performance.
caricature, wasn't a parody. It was a real dramatic role, and he just sinked his teeth and did a brilliant job. As far as a
Yeah.
win, I do wonder if a lot of the complete unknown surge can help Timothy. Um, he's in two Best Picture nominated films this year. He did a great job.
Hmm.
He's going to be hosting SNL. That could boost his awareness.
Yep.
But also, they tend to make the men wait. They don't award the men that young. He does join
Yeah.
James Dean as one of the most lauded young actors. Um, so it might end up still being Adrian Brody. I do think, though, and we don't have to keep talking about it, but we can bring back the comment from one
Yeah.
of our
The
users at the
AI.
beginning that the
Yeah.
AI was used potentially to help, sand down some of the accent work for Brody and Jones. Jones, I don't really think is in the conversation to win, so I don't really think it matters. Brody, that would be a potential ripple, but I just don't think like I mean he's not. It's
Are
not like
people
he's
going to still be
totally
talking about that?
I don't think we're going to be talking about it. I think he has the potential to win maybe a BAFTA or like somewhere else. So that will when you see him holding an award, I think you'll forget it. I just in the end I think they don't blame the actor that much because the actor also, it's not like I don't think he knew. Like this is an editor and a director. I
Yeah.
think this is more about the directors, the producers, and the editors rather than the actors. They don't blame the actors. So
And
even if this starts to come out, I don't think it hurts him. So I think that this race probably is between Brody and Chalamet.
I agree. And I think if they do their research on what the AI was used for, I'm not pro AI or anything, but it was used for like 2 minutes over like his Hungarian voiceover. It's not like it was used throughout the entire film to make his English Hungarian accent sound good. It was when he was speaking direct Hungarian. And even then, it's like probably like 5%. Like it's probably still mostly like Adrian Brody. And I don't think that should take away his performance is still incredible. I don't think that should take away and like you said, he had no clue what was happening. So
Yeah.
I think it's definitely between those two. I think all Timmy really needs to do is give one great speech. He just needs one opportunity to give a good speech, and I think he could overtake Brody. I do think that'll
Which you
probably
will
happen
likely
at
get at
SAG.
that, right?
I
Yeah.
think he'll win at SAG. I could see that kind of just, and then SAG, Critics' Choice. I wonder if he'll win Critics' Choice. That'll be interesting, maybe. But I do think Brody will definitely have BAFTA up on lock. So I think it'll be a race between those two for sure. I actually might lean Timmy right now just because both the films kind of got most things that they could get nominated for. But I don't know that the strength of a complete unknown just continues to go up and up and up. So if it continues to go up, I would imagine that includes Timmy winning, but we'll see.
Um,
Um,
I do think, though, just speaking of actors, specifically Brody not knowing things that happen in post, I will never forget Adrian Brody thought he was the lead in the Thin Red Line, the Terrence Malick movie,
oh
and
yeah.
then watched the movie and realized he was only in 5 minutes of a 3 hour movie. So
Hmm.
he's been down this road before where his performance gets tweaked in the editing room.
Just a little bit. Yes. Hey Sam, hello. Um, okay. Let us move on. Um, guys, Oscar voting takes place after SAG is concluded. Okay, well, I still think I still think he can win, but who knows? Um, actress in a leading role: Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carlos V. Gascon for Amelia Perez, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. Okay, interesting. So I think the miss here. This is the predicted top five. I think most people had in the odds. Uh, I went with Baptiste. I think you switched over to Baptiste last second. I'm sorry about that.
Yes,
Um, but
that's all
I
right.
just felt like there was going to be the passion for her. I felt like she just, in my opinion, is so clearly like the best leading actress performance of the year and just one of the best of the year in general. She won the trifecta. She has more, I think, industry connections than people thought. But at the end of the day, it's a visibility thing. I think I'm Still Here being helmed by Sony Pictures Classics, which is much better at getting
They
nominations
are
in
a
there than a
sneaky, strong competitor.
they're great at campaigning. In particular, the lead acting performances. And Bleecker Street is not, as we've seen, very good at this. And you look at the way they've both been campaigned in the
Mhm.
last few weeks while voting was taking place, and I'm Still Here was everywhere. Fernando Torres was everywhere. It was being campaigned properly. Bleecker Street just didn't have it in them to, I guess, campaign Hartress well enough, I think, for it to be seen enough. But
I mean, she
yeah,
was likely. I mean, she was in the. I think
she
among
was
the
number
top honorable
six.
mentions. She could have been the six. And I think in the end, we just felt that they don't tend to. We didn't know that I'm Still Here was going to get into Best Picture, and we thought it was too much of a long shot to take. And in that situation, they don't tend to nominate the acting branch of the Academy international performances from non-Best Picture nominated movies. And so, at that point, we just had to go with the stats, and go with
Hmm.
history. Um, and history has still proven itself correct because Fernando
Yep.
Torres is in a Best Picture nominated movie. So yeah, I think in the end it doesn't surprise me, and I think in the end Fernando Torres had a lot of number one votes, and I think that's what
Hmm.
helped her. And once you see the film, I think it is clear why. It
Yeah.
is a just all encompassing role, and she's playing a real life person.
Hmm.
And she, we talk about Isabella Rossellini being cinematic royalty. So is Fernando Torres, and
Yeah.
um, I think this is a really exciting Best Actress race because honestly, I really think other than Mikey Madison, all four of these people not only have such interesting paths that you've seen in years past, like those narratives play out, but they're all
Hmm.
very different from each other and what they represent. I mean, you could not find five characters that I feel like are not only so different from
Yeah.
each other, but are so different from past nominations in this category. Like these are such unique characters to be Oscar nominated.
Yeah.
I'm just This might be my favorite category of the day. It is so exciting.
It's a great category. It's very, like you said, very new, very fresh. When it comes to the win, I think we're both after the Golden Globes pretty confident that Demi Moore was just going to run the table because it didn't seem like there was a clear alternative. I think her biggest competition at that point was either Madison or Erivo.
Mhm.
Um, but right now, I don't know. I feel like it's still Demi Moore because she's got the best narrative,
Mhm.
but I don't know.
And Substance got
It's
in for
tricky.
directing, writing,
Hmm.
and
It's
picture.
got the makeup correlation too, which
Yeah,
helps
so
often
it's
in the acting
going to be
category.
well seen, well regarded. Um, I, I'm really fascinated with this because also this is, I believe, the first time in almost half a century that
Hmm.
all five nominees are in Best Picture films in this category. I think it's been
Yeah.
like 47 years. So I mean, this is exciting, and it makes it our job more difficult because usually
Yep.
you can say, well, the movies that aren't Best Picture nominated, you can shunt to one side.
And the
Um,
stronger ones, I don't think have a shot at winning. Like Amelia Perez is probably the strongest film here. I don't think Carla really has a shot at winning. I don't think that where that film will be honored.
Yeah, I think that she's hurt because of screen time, first off. I mean, she's not the lead of
Hmm.
the movie as much as
No,
Netflix wants us to. Do you think they did that for her? Or do you think they did that for Saldana?
I think they did that for Saldana, and I
Okay.
think they also wanted to say that the title character was the lead
Yeah, they
character.
wanted to give us a movie that doesn't exist.
Yes.
But I mean, listen, she could win. It would have. There's going to be a lot in the campaigning as we define these narratives. If
Hmm.
Cynthia's going to make a play for this, she has to win SAG, and she has to
Yeah.
really lean into what Elphaba represents beyond the Wicked Witch iconography, and lean into I am a. I would become the youngest EGOT in history if I won. I am a Emmy, Grammy, Tony Award win. Like she would have to lean into that. Demi Moore is riding high off that Golden Globe speech, but she has to maintain it, as we saw in our
Yeah.
our last political election, starting off strong, but leading
Yeah.
end strong. And so she's got to maintain it. I would suggest doing what the Oppenheimer crew did, which is, because of the strikes, they weren't able to promote the movie. Go on all these shows now, because I don't
Hmm.
remember seeing her on Kimmel or Fallon when the movie was out. Go do that now. Build up some um, sustenance for your substance campaign. And then
Hmm.
Fernando Torres, I think that there was a lot of goodwill coming out of today. If you were going to run with something other than the Amelia Perez 13 nominations and the ensuing controversy, I do think I'm
Yeah.
still here. And Fernando Torres was the thing you led with.
Yeah.
So honestly, I just think right now they just have to get people to watch the movie. It's probably the most underseen Best Picture nominee, that and Nickel Boys.
Yeah.
Um,
One of those two. Yeah.
yeah, so I think they get the movie out there. And I think not just her. I think they should start do things with the kids in the film. Do this whole roundtable maybe with the family. If I don't know what
how much her mother could be able to help, but I'm sure that would
I
definitely
think they need to lean
explain
into that
audiences.
in particular. I
Like,
think that is the part of the narrative
yeah,
to lean into. The fact that her mom was nominated, I forget how long ago, it was the Gwyneth Paltrow year. And
that would
lots
have
of
been
people wanted her to
98,
win. Yeah, yeah,
right?
98. So
98,
it's
99, Shakespeare
yeah,
Live.
yeah, the like cinematic legacy with her. And I do think out of all of these, when you look at the most traditional performances that kind of tend to win here, she's in a biopic. It's a biopic performance. I do think it's not a traditional performance, but I do think it, compared to like Wicked and Amelia Present, The Substance, it leans more towards an Oscar kind of performance than those films. But as we've seen in this category the last few years, they don't really Poor Things won, Everything Everywhere won, so it's not like they're going with the traditional stuff that they tend to. But
Mhm.
I think lots of people are kind of riding a little bit on that I'm Still Here getting into Best Picture high and thinking, oh, then Taurus can win, and she could. But like you said, all of these films are in Best Picture, so it's not like that gives her a huge advantage over everyone else. I do think it's probably between her and Moore. I just I don't think Arrivo. I think she is strong. I think she's well liked, but I just don't see that kind of performance in like a huge blockbuster winning. Maybe if she wins SAG. If she wins SAG, I could totally change my mind on it. But I don't know. I just feel like I don't see a world where she wins and Ariana Grande doesn't for some reason. I feel like they
Oh, I
kind of
see
would
that
go
world.
together.
I think
I feel like,
Cynthia Erivo has paid her dues. The thing about Ariana Grande
yeah,
is it's her first nomination. It's essentially her first film, not counting Don't Look Up, which she had a very, very small role, and I Party with Victorious, which I don't think she even wants to. I
no.
remember when I went to the awards screening and they asked, "What did you get your SAG card for?" And she said, "Don't Look Up," and then she forgot. She's like, "I completely forgot half
Yeah,
my life," and she forgot Victorious. But Cynthia could have a hometown advantage with BAFTA as well. You know, that could be something that pops up for her.
maybe.
To me, it makes a lot more sense that Cynthia Erivo has paid her dues and she's has the best part of the movie, the most biggest part of the movie.
Hmm.
She is Wicked, so that makes sense to me. It's whether she can take out these other performances. But I mean, listen, are we really? I mean, yes, Wicked's a blockbuster, but The Substance is not your traditional Oscar.
That's the thing. Neither of them
Actually,
really.
think about it. Fernanda Torres is probably the most traditional
She
Oscar
is
performance of this five.
for sure, for sure. And the thing with Fernanda Torres is that people in the chat are pointing out she won the Golden Globe. She can't win anything else going forward. She's not going to be at BAFTA. She's not going to be at SAG, which these other performances like Revo and Moore and Madison are. So she's going to have to somehow maintain, and she's not even going to be there like in the ceremony. It's not like the cameras are going to cut to her and you'll still be like aware she wasn't nominated at either of them, so she won't be in the audience. So she'll have to maintain this buzz and hype around her without popping up at any of those precursors, which I
Yeah.
do
I
think
don't,
is harder to do.
but I don't know if that hurts her this year because I mean we have so many movies that are playing to certain advantages at the different guilds. Like it's not the sort of I do not intend. Listen, maybe Amelia Perez is that sort of movie. We're gonna find out. This
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem like the year where one movie steamrolls everything everywhere,
No.
like Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
So I don't like because you're. I just feel like take actor. Timothy might win SAG, and then Adrian might
Mm-hmm.
win BAFTA. It's not like if you miss one. You get what I'm saying? We're like, Fernando Torres not being everywhere
Mm-hmm. But
doesn't. I
she's
don't
not
think
even nominated there, I
hurts
think,
her.
is what makes the
Yeah, but
difference.
I just once she's here, she's here. I don't think the fact that she's not at BAFTA hurts her win here. If anything, it concentrates everybody to vote for her here and only take her seriously here. I think what's going to be telling with this is how international future shakes up. Now that we have, as you mentioned this morning, two Best
Yeah.
Picture contenders that are also an international feature. If I'm Still Here can start to be really competitive, then look out because then Fernanda could actually pull this off.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think if the whole Fernanda Torres push happened a few weeks earlier, who knows? Maybe she would have gotten in at BAFTA. I still don't think she would have gotten SAG just because they don't do international performances. Usually they did for Gascon, but they didn't even do Huller last year. So I don't think she would have gotten that, but who knows? I'm still sticking with Moore for the win.
Yeah, I think right now Moore is the safe bet. It's crazy to think The Substance is a safe bet
Yeah.
at anything.
Yeah.
But I think this is the most wide open actress race we've had in a while, probably going back to
Mm-hmm.
2020. And I think if you are rooting for Torres, then I would look at the 2007, 2008 year where Marion Cotillard was able to win for La Vie en Rose. Yes, she was doing a biopic musical performance, a type of role that the actors gravitate towards, but she was able to come in and this was before, she was Christopher Nolan's go-to. That's the sort of race I think you would have to see Torres mount to win. So
Mhm.
take a look at that season.
Yes, for sure. Moving on, actor in a supporting role: Yuri Borisov, Kieran Culkin, Edward Norton, Guy Pearce, Jeremy Strong. This was the the easy acting category. I
Yeah.
think this is the only one that we went 5 for 5 for.
Yeah.
Very predictable. On the outside, Clarence Macklin, Denzel Washington. I don't think either of us hugely expected either of them to get in here. The big question here is, now that A Real Pain isn't in Best Picture, is Kieran Culkin going to become the first supporting actor to win in a film that's not in Best Picture since Christopher Plummer in, what was that, like 2011
That
or
was
so?
2011.
Yeah.
I know that because as a kid, I was like, why wasn't Alan Rickman nominated for Severus Snape in Deathly Hallows Part 2? And then I looked up, I was like, oh, Christopher
Yeah.
Plummer.
Oh, Christopher Plummer. Yeah, that's why he had to
And I
have his
still
moment.
think Alan Rickman should have been nominated. Makes me cry every time.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think he can win here without it being in Best Picture?
Yeah.
I just don't see the competition. Like, if
Yeah.
there was a strong competitor, I would say yes.
He is so beloved to a degree that like we're still trying to understand, and we love him.
Comprehend.
Like, you understand how beloved you have to be when two of his biggest fans are left dumbfounded by this like awards race.
Two succession
Um,
heads.
the one person I'm curious who you think is the one that can beat him.
Guy Pearce is the one who could beat him. If he wins BAFTA, Guy Pearce is the one who, because The Brutalist is stronger here than it is anywhere else, it seems, besides BAFTA. So if, we've seen it happen before where someone just wins BAFTA and then happens at the Oscars. That's his competitor here. He's in a picture film, but I don't know, the Culkin train is just very strong.
Do you remember what I said like a month ago when I was making my argument, or probably more than a month ago? Because we do this all year.
We do. Year round.
Remember how I was like, what's going to help Ray Fiennes is that he hasn't won yet, and he's a beloved actor, and he's in a movie that is going to be well seen and well regarded. I might have been using that logic for the wrong person. That might be Edward Norton. Just a second. Maybe this is where a complete unknown is able to surprise.
Maybe, but I just feel if there was more to the performance, I would say yes. I just feel like with that performance, I don't know, that doesn't scream Oscar winner to me compared to these other two.
I mean, granted, but I don't think Kieran Culkin screams
no,
Oscar
but
winner.
In terms of his performance, it's much more like showy, emotional, that kind of stuff than what Norton does. Yeah, he's a lead, which does help.
So I'm just saying, I think Edward Norton would be the person that I think you would look to, because I think he is somebody who people admire, and he did step outside of his comfort zone in that he's comforting. He's a warm presence in this movie, and he's singing. And I do think they're going to want to give it something. It might go the way of Elvis, where we think it's going to win something, and it ends up coming up nil. But I think I could see Edward Norton. Maybe he would have to do well at like SAG, which they loved A Complete Unknown there as much as the Oscars did. So it would be hard. But listen, we've seen bigger upsets in supporting actors. So that would be the one thing I would look out for. I also think I feel like glossed over this entire season because we've been a little surprised with it. But like Yuri Borisov getting in is remarkable.
That's crazy. He hit every single precursor. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Especially because I think we were like, well, there's too many good options for them to like center around one. And they did, and it was Yuri Borisov. And it's also, if you watch the film, not the kind of, like, if you asked me after watching the film which one, even though there's a ton of them, are like the awards body's going to like focus on, I wouldn't have picked him. It's the more subtle performance compared to someone like Edelstein. So yeah.
Exciting. I think Edelstein is hurt. But I would give him credit, because I give him the same credit that I give Mahershala
he's my favorite supporting actor
in Moonlight, which is that when he's gone, you feel his presence. Like the whole movie, once he leaves the movie, and like you have to go.
The movie's about finding him.
Feel him. You feel his presence, and then when he comes back, it's just so soul crushing. Like I was so impressed with him. I look forward to seeing what he does next. But Yuri Borisov, that last scene is such a high wire act of acting that the fact that him and Madison are the people that get recognized from the acting ensemble of Honora, which is exceptional, you're not going to find me that upset about that.
No. And also shout out Jeremy Strong. He's who I probably would vote for here. I just think his performance in that is incredible. And we've got both the Roy boys in here. Now we just need to get Sarah Snook an Oscar nomination worthy role. But yeah.
Phil, do a pro shot of her doing Picture Dorian Gray on Broadway. There we go. Easy peasy.
Perfect. Yep. Easy peasy. So we're both sticking with Culkin. I say number 2 is Pierce. Did you think it's Norton? Or you think
no, you're the number 2. Yes, I will
number
put
2.
Norton at number 2 and Culkin.
Okay. I just don't see Norton winning anything. I do think Pierce could win BAFTA, but who knows? Let us move on to probably the hardest acting category to predict: actress in a
Are
supporting
you saying
role.
that facetiously, or
Well,
is
it
that?
was, I think, out of the four when we predicted it, I think this is the one we had the most trouble with,
Oh,
probably.
you mean the nominations? I was like, isn't this
Oh yeah,
bad?
no, not for the winner, not
Yeah,
for the winner, no. But
it was
Monica
a little
Barbaro,
conversation, but yeah.
yeah, Monica Barbaro, Ariana Grande, Felicity Jones, Isabella Rossellini, and Zoe Saldana. Monica Barbaro, great surprise, as we talked about earlier. Fun, she posted her reaction to it as well. I think out of any of the acting nominees this year, this probably helped her career the most. I would say it's a huge boost for
Oh
her
yeah.
career.
Well, it's not going
Yeah,
to help Isabella Rossellini. I think she's going to be okay.
no,
I
I
mean, I'm
think she's
happy
good.
for her,
Yeah,
but like, yeah, no.
yeah,
Yeah, Monica
very exciting.
Barbaro. Because this is the thing. I think a lot of the industry was like, "Who's Monica Barbaro?" I think
Hmm.
that's what happened.
Most people didn't remember she was in Top Gun. I don't think most people recognized her. So I think this is a kind of
She
discovery
was in a
nomination.
freaking, suit
Helmet.
for most of it.
Yeah, she
Um,
was.
yeah. So listen, I think both of us talked about it. I think we both wanted to do it, but we just felt like our gut was like it's too much of a risk.
It was the
But I'm
SAG
very
thing. That was the only thing holding me back. She is the only person since like what 2000, I think it was 13, 2012, who just got a SAG nomination and then ended up at the Oscars. It's just such a history of someone getting just SAG and not getting in that I wasn't going to go against it. But everything else inside of me was like a complete unknown, as you could see in my predictions, is overperforming. So it should be in there. She should have been in there, and she was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I was very happy with Felicity Jones. I don't think I registered that on the reaction because
Hmm.
we were in shock about who was missing.
Yeah.
But I was very happy. I think she has one of the best scenes of the year. And I was just worried that people were not jiving with the second half as much as the first half, and she is the second half. So were they going to give
She
her
is.
flowers? And I'm very happy they did. It's a remarkable, a true supporting performance. Now let's talk about the two lead performances that are in this category.
Yeah. Ariana Grande and Zoe Saldana. Both of these films pretty much maxed out in terms of nominations. I guess Selena Gomez not here. I don't think Wicked really missed a single thing.
I mean, I was looking for an adapted screenplay to be the
Maybe,
first
yeah,
competitor picture. I thought that could have been, but I think when you looked at the five that got in,
makes
it makes
sense,
sense. So,
especially
yeah,
for that branch.
both of them did very well. I also think that Zoe Saldana to me is a little bit more egregious because like once we get post popular, like Ariana Grande does kind of become more of a supporting character for like the last hour of that movie.
A little
Zoe
bit,
Saldana,
yeah.
again, like I don't know what.
The movie starts and ends on her. It's just so obviously a lead,
Yeah.
but who
So
cares?
so this is the only thing I will bring up as far as a potential ripple to give the Ari fans out there some hope.
Hmm.
Um, there is a world where Ari wins Critics' Choice and Ari
Hmm.
wins SAG, and at that
Yep.
point, I do think you have to give her the potential. Like, if she gets in front of a microphone once, let alone twice, and gives a very moving speech about how this, like, since she was a little girl, this thing meant to her, and I think there's something to it, especially because Wicked did almost max out on the potential nominations, and they do love the movie, and it
Hmm.
is an exciting thing to see Ariana Grande get nominated. I do think that's a potential possibility, given how well it did this morning. But I still think there's a world where even if Amelia Perez like crashes and burns and loses its momentum, this could just be the one major award it wins. Like because Zoe Saldana, they're almost voting for her, less so the movie. So
Yeah.
I mean, this is a very interesting race. I think it's more interesting than people are making it out to be, given the precursors. But we could also see a world where Saldana just steamrolls the entire season. So we'll see.
I I think she might. I'm not super confident about it, but I do just at the end of the day feel like one, Amelia Press, it seems like it is the strongest film, and as we talk about in these acting categories, it does boost you a lot more if you're in the stronger film. And I just feel like with Grande, it's kind of like a welcome to the club kind of nomination, more so than like Zoe Saldana. It's also her first nomination, but she's been in the industry. And when you think about everyone in the Academy is voting on who wins here, Zoe Saldana has been in some of the biggest movies of all time with some of the biggest crews and largest amount of people working on it. So I think you think about all the below the line people, all the people she's like led films to making huge amounts of money with the
And she has
producers.
been, I think, beloved. Like she comes off
Hmm.
as a very genuine person, and you see this in the interviews she does. So she's not a phony. At least
No, not at all.
she doesn't appear
No,
to be.
no. And yeah, she's very genuine with her speeches too. Like that Golden Globe speech was very, very genuine. And I don't know. I think I kind of feel like it's just going to be Saldana all the way, but I do think SAG and Critics' Choice in particular, I think is where you should look out for
And I
Grande.
understand that people are like, oh, SAG is not. It's going to happen after the Oscar voting closes for the winners.
Hmm.
There is a climate that the industry will be able to pick up on
Yeah.
while SAG voting is happening. So like I do
Hmm.
think it matters a little bit. Hollywood is not that big a town. And so if
No.
Ariana Grande is rising, it's the same way that like we knew Jamie Lee Curtis was rising. Like we could feel it. And so yeah, I think that it'll be really interesting, and I think as far as people, I think what also helps her too, that if people look to like, well, Lady Gaga ended up not really amounting to anything when A Star Is Born. That race came down to apparently Glenn Close and Olivia Colman.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande, I don't think she's not playing a pop star, and
No.
she's not. I don't see her as playing herself. People can debate me. To me, the moment that sold me on Ariana Grande's performance was the first song, where everybody's happy and mourning, not mourning the wicked, and you could see the
There's conflict.
pain that she has and having to pretend like she doesn't care about Elphaba. Like there is
Hmm.
layers to that movie, and more so than Kristen Chenoweth, she's putting on this facade of popular because that's how she survives and that's how she thinks she can be successful. So she, I think, has a little bit more bona fides to her performance than other pop stars turned actors. Whether that gets her to the win, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, true. I just feel like with most pop stars, like even Cher had to kind of like chisel away at the Academy a little bit. Like she had to get nominated one time, and then it was like upon further nominations that she got in there. I think the only example is Hudson, but I don't think she was really considered quite as much like a huge worldwide pop star as Grande was. I think Hudson was seen as more of like a discovery, which this is a discovery in a way, but everyone beforehand already kind of knew who Ariana Grande was. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
she has more to like chip away. And I will say 2005, which is when Dreamgirls came out, was the
Yeah.
infamous crash year. It was like
Yes,
2018, once a decade, everything will go crazy. And that seemed to
it
be
will.
here. And listen, the thing about Hudson too is that Hudson has the Defying Gravity equivalent in that show,
Hmm. Yeah.
where Ariana Grande, Popular, is fantastic. She has great songs, but she doesn't have the powerhouse, 11 o'clock number.
No,
If we
she
did,
does not.
maybe we would have a different conversation.
Maybe,
That's what
but I think
I'm very fascinated with now, what Wicked for Good can do, because I'm like, you feel like it can't. I mean, listen, we'll see how they adapt the second half, but like this is just
yeah.
fascinating. Like, what's going to be the trajectory next year?
I don't know if either of them get nominated again. We'll see.
No,
It's just
and what's crazy is that I could argue that their best moments might come in the second movie because I'm
yeah,
not prepared for Good. I really am not. I'm going to be a
yeah,
mess.
yeah. Who knows? Maybe I'll continue that sequel thing of like people don't get in for sequel nominations usually, even though I did that with Dune.
It'll
But
depend on the competition for sure.
yeah, I will for sure. Yeah, and then missing Aunjanue Ellis Taylor. I didn't really think it was gonna happen, but I stuck with it. But Nickel Boy still got Best Picture, so we've got that going for it. And I think the other misses were Selena Gomez, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing too insane. Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis. I think we both kind of expected that would happen. I almost took her out last second because I was looking and I think I texted you about this. She has a lot more Golden Globe and SAG nominations than she does Oscar nominations. I think she's got like 3 SAG. Oh, wait, no. She's got 4 BAFTA nominations, I think, and 3 SAG nominations. I don't know how many Golden Globe, but to her 1 Oscar nomination. So she gets in those places and still misses at the Oscars. So it makes sense to me. And also, she was in a film that she probably would have been the only nomination for, and that's hard to do. As we saw with Jeremy Strong, we thought he might be the only nomination, and no, it turns out Sebastian Stan was coming along with him. So it's
Yeah,
pretty,
I think that
pretty
it spoke more to not having the confidence in Monica Barbaro that we maybe should have had.
yeah.
Obviously, we should have had. That I put Jamie Lee Curtis in. I also had Margaret Qualley in because I thought that they loved The Substance. I mean, they've got the 3 major awards and Demi Moore. So obviously there was passion for that film, but I guess not enough for another co-lead in there.
No,
But again, this I mean, I'm not. This is a
good
pretty good
list.
list. Like even for the people who hate Amelia Perez, and I'm not among its most ardent
I
defenders.
think most people still think she's good.
I think she carries her parts well, and I also think Zoe Saldana is such, as you said, and I think she's such a necessary figure of modern movies and Hollywood that
Yeah.
to see her get this nomination, potentially win, if you like movies, I don't think you should be upset that Zoe Saldana has an Oscar.
No.
Is how I feel.
No. Imagine winning an Oscar and being in the highest grossing film of the year in 2025. That's impressive.
Very
That's
nice.
very impressive. But yeah, watch Nickel Boys, Angela Taylor. That's all I'm gonna say. Adapted screenplay. This was the expected five with the complete unknown, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. Yeah,
Conclave.
no Wicked. You think? Yeah, I think it'll just be Conclave. What do you think its number two is? What? Amelia Perez, probably, I guess. But I don't think that's gonna win.
Musicals don't win screenplays.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
So.
I mean, is it by?
There's no clear number two. So.
I mean, you could make the argument it's a complete unknown. You could also make the argument that maybe Sing Sing, if they.
I could make the argument Nickel Boys more than Sing Sing.
But my thing with Sing Sing is that because of the actual people who are nominated, like because you have the actual people that are involved, like the real life people, like that's a narrative that they could lean into. If
What was
they
the last screenplay winner?
A24 is not campaigning, so
Yeah.
no. I think it's going to be Conclave. I don't. This is. I think let's save some time.
Yeah. Let's do that. We can probably less so here. Original screenplay: Honora the Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5. In the substance, Challengers deserved better. September 5, our sole screenplay nomination here. Who even saw that film? I guess writers did.
I mean, we did, didn't we?
We did, but we have to. We have to.
To go see it.
Yeah, we have to see this stuff.
We actually don't. We are not required to do any of this. We do this out of love for all of you.
Yes, to be informed on our opinions, we do. I think it's between Honora and The Substance, probably. Even if The Brutalist wins Best Picture, it doesn't really give the vibe to me that it would win screenplay, kind of like Oppenheimer last year.
Yeah, I think. I mean, Substance won a can in this category, and I just don't see anything else really having this sort of like exciting thing. And I also think the key word that always tends to help is what is the most original screenplay, and I think that will be The Substance.
So you're going with The Substance?
Yes.
I think I'm going to stick with Honora just because Sean Baker is, I think, more beloved than Corley Farja, and I do think people kind of like see this as the one place to award him, but I could really see it be The Substance as well. Also worth mentioning, someone did point out I'm Still Here was probably number 6 here. Imagine, that's surprising that it got pictured, but it didn't. Nickel Boys and Sing Sing still managed to get it over it, but yeah.
I mean, Nora could. Let me see how phase 2 looks as far as the campaigning. If they just decide to put everything into screenplay because they kind of realize the actors are not going to do anything long term. I don't know. I just feel like there seems to be more. I get the sense that there's more passion for The Substance. Nora is starting to feel like Tar to me, which is a movie that is very well regarded, doesn't really have any missteps as far as what it gets nominated for. But when it comes to actually giving it wins, doesn't have that oomph to put it over the finish line. Licorice Pizza is another movie that I think is very comparable to Honora. And so we'll see. I just think, it's in the end, we're going with 2 directors who are also nominated. I think that's the way to go. That's what makes Conclave's win so surprising because that's not the trend. So we'll see. But listen, I love Honora. It's in my top 10 of the year. I'm not rooting against it. I just need to see it. I think if it wins in other places too, like it didn't win anything at the Globes. It needs to start winning and getting on the stage and building its persona in the awards race. And then I will feel more confident in this category.
Yeah. Danny, I already answered your question. I don't hate Wicked. My reaction during the video was to Challengers missing, not Wicked getting into score. I don't think I look pissed off anytime Wicked gets mentioned. So I don't hate the movie. I like it more than Amelia Perez, but I don't find it overrated.
That's not a high bar, Jack.
Yeah, I think it's like a solid 6 out of 10. I had a good time. I rewatched it recently. I do think it's a little overrated. That's fine. That's an opinion that I can have, but it's okay.
You're not.
I'm probably not, but it's okay to say a film that you don't like, which would be Amelia Perez here, can win, even though I like Wicked more. Saying that I find Wicked overrated, but Amelia Perez can still win is just me doing what I'm supposed to do as my job here. So thank you. Moving on. My God. Wicked Part 2 next year. Thank God. Another year of this. Animated feature film.
I didn't know you kids were so like. I mean, yes, I did know they were strong-willed. I've done many a heads-up game with them.
Yeah, I'll take the I'm Still Here stands next year over the Wicked ones. I'm Still Here too next year. I'm still here.
Ooh, it's been a long day.
It has. Animated feature: Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, and The Wild Robot. I think Flow is maybe going to win this. It got international and animated. Wild Robot did get sound, which is surprising, but I didn't expect that. But I
Well,
don't know.
that doesn't necessarily mean. I mean, Kubo and those two strings surprised in a in a non-typical category, and that didn't win that year. Zootopia won, so it doesn't necessarily mean just because it got into sound that it gets here. I think Flow feels to me like Flea, which was the movie that got documentary, international, and animated
But did that win the Golden
nominations.
Globe?
No, it didn't win the Golden Globe.
Yeah, I feel
And
like Flow
so
has more momentum.
yeah, but it won the Golden Globe. Like, I mean, Missing Link won the Golden Globe. Like, that didn't matter much to that campaign.
Yeah.
I think I think Flow should be happy that it knocked out Disney Pixar as the runner-up, but I don't know. Wild Robot, it's nominated, I think, in 2 other categories. And if Flow is going, I just think Flow is not, if people watch it, and that's the question too. I think right now, Wild Robot is the more seen out of the 2, and I don't know if Flow's going to catch up. And even if it does catch up, I could see enough people being like, okay, this is just a movie about some animals and there's no story. Like, I could see that hurting the movie. So
Maybe.
I have Wild Robot. I just think it's not Disney Pixar. It's an original property. It's a beautiful film represented with other nominations. Flow could happen, but I think it's going an uphill battle, mostly because who would we give the Oscar to? Nominees to be determined.
Well, we've seen that
Go on the
in
Golden
lots of
Globe list.
categories.
Whoever got a Golden Globe gets an Oscar nomination. How is this so difficult?
Yeah,
Oscars, you had
who
like the
knows?
next 2 weeks to figure this out.
Yeah, they had extra time to do it, but I guess not. Yeah, I agree. Actually, I think Wild Robot what helped me Miyazaki's film last year is The Boy in Hair. It was Miyazaki, and it was going against a superhero Part 2 sequel.
Yeah.
That ended on a cliffhanger. So I think when you expand it to everyone, I don't know, it'll probably just be Wild Robot. But I do think Flow is a lot closer than expected. But we'll see.
I mean, yeah, the fact that it got into international proves that
It's
it does have
impressive.
its fans, but I don't know if they're enough to get it over the line. Because when you have the whole Academy voting, you're having I believe still a majority of American filmmakers, and like it's more of an American voter base. And I just think they probably are more familiar with the Wild Robot because a lot of times it's just, what did I bring my kids to? They're not seeking out the animated films. It's a miracle if hopefully they watch all 10 Best Picture nominees, let alone I want them to watch I'm Still Here and Nickel Boys. That might be too much of an ask for some of these people.
Yeah.
So I just worry that, the
True.
people that you may think may like Flow might not watch Flow, but they watch Wild Robot because their kid wanted to go, because their kid read the book. That's why, Toy Story 4 did so well and why we predicted it against Klaus and I Lost My Body, which were maybe the more exciting picks that year, and Missing Link. But Toy Story 4 is a well-known property.
Yeah, true. And Wild Robot makes people emotional. I agree. I also cried. I cried during both of them, but the Wild Robot cry was a little more intense. But yeah, that is animated feature. Animated short, we can't really talk about the shorts that much. I think I went 3 for 5 here. I would guess In the Shadow of the Cypress would win, is what I'll say. Do you have
what I thought was fun is that if you take out the shorts, we had the same score. We both got 80.
Oh, we did?
We did. You did a little bit better on the shorts than me, but if we take out the shorts, then we had the same score, which I don't think is.
So we should keep the shorts in there.
If you want to keep the shorts in, I will give it to you, because I mean, listen, it's blind luck with.
It's totally blind.
Also, Shay in our comments, I agree. Lupita should be in more movies. She should be in all the movies.
She's going to be in Christopher Nolan's film, thankfully. But yeah, it's crazy how after she won an Oscar, and she's like and then she was in Us, but like she's just one of the most talented actresses out there.
She was in Star Wars. She was in the biggest movie. She was
in it.
Still in the biggest movie. She was in it. She was a motion capture performance.
I know. It's just not like.
I will grant you that. But listen, she was, Black Panther, Us. I mean, frankly, her performance in Wakanda Forever breaks me every time. I think she's.
Oh yeah, she's great in everything. I just want more. Is all I'm saying. Maybe she's picky. Who knows? But I feel like
I have a feeling she's not picky. She did a movie called Little Monsters. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking of. People need to give her more opportunities, and hopefully they will.
Another reason to love my boy Chris Nolan.
Exactly. Cinematography: The Brutalist, Doom Part 2, Emilia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu. Big misses here. Conclave, Nickel Boys should be here. Dune still made it in despite it being a sequel, the only sequel to do it when the first one was nominated, besides the Dark Knight / Batman. So yeah, I feel like this is just gonna be The Brutalist, honestly, for the win.
Yeah.
Director and cinematography are connected sometimes, so it makes sense. Shout out Emilia Perez. Emilia Perez missed ASC when they even did 7 nominations and it still got in here. So sign of strength.
I had a feeling this was going to happen. This just felt like the sort of thing that if Emilia Perez was going to have the total that it ended up having, that this would be one that they would just add right along.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Also, back to our early conversation, people will argue that this could have been a category Wicked could have gotten. I never took it seriously in cinematography.
No.
But some people, I mean, it did get some precursors. It could have,
Just look at the nominations here. This branch, I think, has maybe more of a director's branch taste, where it's a little more prestige-y.
Which is why Edward gets in.
He keeps getting in here, yeah. Which Maria is one of the best shot films of the year, so makes sense. Yeah. Moving along.
Crazy to think how this year started, and we thought that maybe Lawrence Sher for Joker Folie à Deux could have won, or at least I
never thought that. I had
nominated.
I had Joker ranked 14th on our Best Picture nominations. Yeah. So,
but I also think that out of all the categories, you were like cinematography maybe is the one where
it's honestly worthy. It looks great. I'll give it that.
I mean, I would probably nominate it over like Nosferatu.
Oh yeah, or Emilia Perez. No offense.
Emilia Perez. Yeah. But nobody's touching that movie with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, someone has an answer to nominees to be determined, but it's too long to post in the chat. Oh, former Everson play. Who knows? Yeah, I'm sure there's some sort of reason where it happens.
It's just I can't remember them ever doing that, and they did it with like
it seems. Movies. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Costume design: A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. I think we went 5 for 5 here. Makes sense, and it's just going to be Wicked.
Yes. Deservedly so. Very happy. Gladiator 2, this was the only nomination for the film. Kind of surprising. Yeah. I mean, not really surprising, but we kind of thought it was going to get in a couple other places.
I thought it really was going to get production design, which I guess is that next? Oh, no, never mind. But yeah. Usually they're next to each other. But yeah, I mean, it's Janty Yates. She got in last year for Napoleon. This is a branch that likes previous nominees. So it's not too shocking, but yeah.
Ariane Phillips, who I believe won for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So, I think some people might have felt that was a little surprising. Like, what? It's just traditional costumes. It's period, and I think it respect that level of craft. Yeah, and the mood of a complete unknown, I think, is really strong, and she was a major part of that.
She was. Film editing. This is Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, and Wicked. Dune missed here. I had it here instead of. I had it missing cinematography instead of this. Who knows? But yeah, I think that shows it might not win sound, which we'll get to in a second because those categories are connected. But this category has just been so unpredictable. Usually you should just go with your top 5 in picture, and that's pretty much what happened here. Minus, I guess, A Complete Unknown miss, which it didn't hit any precursor, so that's not shocking. Brutalist also didn't hit any precursor, so I guess that's the surprise here. But yeah, other than that, and Wicked is also a surprise, even though that got ace. That's
wasn't to me.
Wasn't to you, but I think to most.
No, I think my thing I was so close to pulling the trigger on Dune and taking it out, but I felt like if I'm taking it out, then like what would be in its I was like, I don't want to touch it. Dune has been getting in everywhere for editing, and my risk here is Wicked. I didn't want to go 3 for 5, and so I left it in. But it makes sense why I think your whole argument on Dune Part 2 not living up to the first film's nomination total made sense in this category. So when it happened, I wasn't that surprised. Yeah, see, this is the thing about my Wicked logic is that I put Wicked in here because I thought it was like a contender for Best Picture, and it still could be, and it could break. Every year we break another stat, and maybe this is the year we break a new stat. But that's why I put it in here. And now that, it didn't get directing or adapted screenplay, like it is in this interesting space where like, I mean, I can tell you the reasons why I think it's deserving of it, but that doesn't mean anything coming from the guy wearing this sweater. So it is surprising to see it crack this top 5. And movies like A Complete Unknown and Dune, some of the more, flashy edited movies. I mean, I guess it's a musical. I guess
this is well paced though.
And it's well paced.
I'd say compared to those two, you do not feel the time, even compared to Dune. Like Wicked flies by for its length. So I think that is impressive.
Literally.
Yeah, literally on a broom. What is winning this?
I
Amelia
honestly,
Perez?
whatever you have winning Best Picture is winning
Yeah,
this.
I think that's the answer. Whatever's winning Best Picture is winning this. And all of these, besides Wicked, I would say have a shot at winning Best Picture. Um, so yeah, whatever you have, yeah, that's what I would. And right now, I guess maybe The Brutalist then, even though it hasn't hit a single precursor before this, but who knows?
I mean, Amelia Perez
The
could.
editor is the one who brought up all the AI stuff, so maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, maybe it would be so funny if you're like, this is where Sean Baker can win an award.
Oh yeah, in
This is the
editing of
winner.
all places.
I mean, so this is the thing. I saw Amelia Perez back in October, so I don't remember, but I've been told recently that apparently the editing is bad, like Bohemian
Well, I think
Rhapsody
most
bad.
aspects of the film is
Like
not
Bohemian
great.
Rhapsody level. If you invoke Bohemian Rhapsody, so I'm gonna have to go back and
Mm-hmm.
figure out why people think this is so.
That one editing, so
Yeah.
so
I
I think
rewatched
it'd be that.
Ice like
Yeah.
2 months ago, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? This didn't win editing?
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me? Or A Star Is Born? Nothing? No? Okay."
Anything else,
Yeah.
literally.
Um,
Yeah, I think I would go with Amelia Perez. Actually, I think I'm going to stick with Amelia Perez. Having we can get to it. Maybe sound and editing combo.
because at least I was thinking about this because
Brutalist doesn't have sound.
Amelia Perez has the musical element and the action element with the final sequence. And it could win editing because of that. So we're looking at a world where Amelia Perez could win international feature, song, sound, film editing, supporting actress, director, and picture.
I think most of those probably could and will happen besides director, is what I would say.
If it wins all those other ones, I feel like directing is
Yeah.
the thing to pop on.
To
and if
just
that's the case, that's winning as many Oscars as Oppenheimer and Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yep. And people are going to be so excited about that.
So we have our craft.
We've been prepared for this, though. I think we have been saying like, well, Amelia Perez is probably the front runner to win Best Picture for a minute now, and the fact that it got 13, I think lots.
I also think it's funny because like a couple weeks ago, I was like, this isn't the Crash of this year. This isn't Crash, and now that I've like this thing has gone around, you do the research, you read about the critiques, it's like, no, okay, this is starting to feel more like Crash every day. So we'll see.
I just feel like the same thing will potentially happen, where it's like, the more you say why you shouldn't like this film, people who like the film will feel even more empowered to like vote for it and want to like it.
Yeah.
And it's the most topical film given everything going on in the United States and the characters in the film and all the subject matter. Yeah. So,
I mean, this is the thing that we have to remind ourselves is that we are nuts. The people who talk about this and debate this and like these people watch these movies once, maybe twice.
If they watch them at all.
And so they're not debating this. They're not reading these think pieces en masse. So, it's how and I remember leaving Amelia Perez, there was this feeling of what did I just watch? It was exciting. And like, if you're not well versed in the discourse about how trans representation is depicted and, the Mexican representation is depicted, if you're not aware of that, then you don't have the context. And so if you're going back to what you enjoyed watching, I do think the feeling that Amelia Perez leaves you on is what, this high of this was really ambitious. And that could be enough to get it all these awards.
I felt so weird after seeing it at TIFF because like the lights came up and I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. And like the woman next to me was sobbing and I was like, oh, okay. So people really like this. So yeah.
And I do think that I feel like it's important to distinguish because I do think there's going to be a sense of if you vote for Amelia Perez, you are doing it in bad faith and you're not an ally to these communities. And I think the person who sat next to you and cried, like she connected with the story. And the part of what Amelia Perez and movies like this should do is get us to the next phase. We're like, we have issues with how this was depicted. This is how we'd like to be represented. And if Amelia Perez is a progress to that, then that's what it should be. And so I don't begrudge people connecting with these stories because it ultimately means they want to connect more with stories like this, and we'll get probably trans filmmakers getting the chance to tell their own stories because this movie opened the door. That is continually what I hope this movie can do, is just open the door. It's just a very uncomfortable situation because you want to see more movies like this, but at the same time, it's an unfortunate thing where it did. It's not even that it made mistakes. It's like the comments that Odiard has made. It seems like the movie's not helping itself in certain regards. So, and there are certain things that like, you get a sensitivity reader, even a college film student, they'll tell you like, yeah, if you make a trans character be like this sort of liar reveal thing, it doesn't usually look good.
It's really, yeah, it's really, I don't know how they ended up all the way to the editing
Yeah.
and Final Cut
I
on
mean,
that,
listen,
but
how many major movies have talked about this? You know, Transparent
Mhm.
was, you know, a popular television show, but I mean, we're in new territory, and that's, you know, that is
take
exciting. At least I mean, we didn't mention Carlos Sofia Gasson becomes the first trans nominee in the acting categories. Like
yeah,
that is huge progress, and I think should
it
be
is.
applauded, even if the movie is not what you want her to be. Because guess what? The next time that a trans nominee is up for consideration, they
There's
can
precedent.
happen before. That's a lot of times what these awards are. They're so that the next person can point to a successful film. You know, how many weird movies have been greenlit because they say, well, hey, it could be the next Everything Everywhere. That's
Mhm.
that's at least what I hope Amelia Perez can do. If it's gonna
Footprints
throw
in
it
the
in the
snow to follow.
discourse for the next 2 months.
Yes. Well, 5 weeks. 5 weeks. We've only got like 5 weeks because they pushed it back a little bit. But yeah, still. I would say take Amelia Perez's nominations, double it, and give it to I Saw the TV Glow. But that won't
Yes,
happen.
yes, yes.
But yeah, I think I'm saying Amelia Perez actually for editing. Are you saying that as well?
Well, yes,
Because do you
yes.
have the
I
yeah
think you're right. The fact that the
yeah
editor was it this editor? It wasn't like an assistant editor. It was. It was this
oh
guy.
for a bit I think so they
No,
I
the
when I
brutalist. The
yeah
brutalist.
no I think so I
Okay.
because it
Yeah,
said editor it may have
I
been
don't think
an
that
assistant
helps.
no I think everyone on the brutalist team is like dude I'm not even voting for you at this point if it was him I'm not completely confident but it said editor when I read it
Yeah.
but there's multiple editors on films so who knows. um Makeup and hairstyling, A Different Man, Amelia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. Congrats to The Substance on your Oscar win. That really
We
helps
don't think it's too
correlation with
weird,
the
right?
movie.
We don't think it's gonna turn too many
No,
people off. Okay,
it wouldn't have gotten Best Picture, I don't think, if it did.
that's fair.
Um,
I do, but I think there's one thing about like award, like this great, somewhat philosophical take on like womanhood and getting older in the industry, and it's there's a lot of bona fides compared to like voting for the makeup of Monstro Elizasu at the end of
yeah.
this movie. Like that
Yeah.
is correct. So
It's so impressive, though, that I feel like there's no world that it doesn't win,
yeah, and it has
especially
the
compared to everything
actress
else.
correlation to be more wins. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Makes
cool.
sense. I don't think anything major missed here. I think Beetlejuice, some people expected. I took that out, but I took it out for Waltzing with Brando, so that didn't work out.
And
But yeah.
I wasn't against it because it's Tim Burton movie. It's always well crafted.
Yeah.
But like I wasn't predicting it, and at the last minute I was like, all right, fine, I'll put
Yeah.
it in, and then
Yeah.
it's.
What'd you take out?
I think I took out Amelia Perez because I was worried that there would be
Oh,
some brouhaha around
controversy.
what,
Okay.
which I'm sure there is.
What there is with everything with that
Yeah,
film. So yes, I'm
yes.
sure.
Even the
Also shout
Netflix
out
version,
genre
people were
films.
like, I don't like it.
Yeah. Shout
So
out genre films here though. Substance and Nosferatu is
mhm.
exciting. Usually horror does not do great. So
But how do you define a genre? Because like I mean,
yeah,
A Different Man kind of feels like a genre film.
kind of. It's not
Wicked
as
is.
direct.
I mean, Wicked is a fantasy musical. Is that like it's so funny like
I guess I meant more horror genre.
yeah,
Yeah.
what that term means anymore? Because I feel like genre films get more respect nowadays. They're not the B picture anymore. They're the A plus
Hmm.
picture.
Yeah. Agreed. Moving along. We can't really speak on this either. Live action short film Alien, Anuha, or Anuja. I'm Not a Robot, The Last Ranger, and The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent. I went 4 for 5 here. Congrats to me. Winner. I think Anuja or Alien is what I would guess probably, but who knows? Do you have a guess?
We'll find out. Nope.
Alphabet bias, which people talk about all the time. Original score: The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Wicked, Wild Robot. Obviously, Wicked surprising here. Taking out the best score of the year, maybe one of the best scores of the decade, maybe one of the best scores ever in existence, the Challengers score.
All right.
It's insane that it's not here, but it happens all the time. It happens that First Man won the Golden Globe and it didn't even get nominated at the Oscars. So it happens. I just really wish that it didn't happen here, and I kind of like 5% of me thought it might happen because when you look at what this branch goes for, this is just not the kind of score that they go for. This more like techno kind of thing. The only time they did that with Reznor and Ross was with The Social Network, which was a much stronger film. So that's why it also didn't get song, because that's a more like techno poppy kind of song. So it makes sense. I just thought that it would be strong enough for it to happen. I thought that Golden Globe boost would have really helped it, but I guess not.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just spoke to what are the movies in contention. It's just not a movie that was on the top of people's radar. And in the end, I think I do think it being a musical, Stephen Schwartz being a previous winner, I think that helped Wicked get in here. And I think this is John Powell's first Oscar nomination, and he's been, I mean, he's been working for like 20, like talk about like Zoe Saldana has been working a long time in this industry. So I was very happy for him. I've listened to his solo score many a time, so very happy for him.
And winning, I would say now that Challengers is in here, I would say The Brutalist is winning, and Conclave underperformed. So
yeah, again, like I don't know if I want to tempt fate because I feel like I mean, could Wicked win? It's so again, it's so strange.
I don't think so.
I'm so familiar with this music, and so a lot of the cues, I'm like, that is exactly what it is on the Broadway stage. So it's hard for me to imagine it, but I could also just feel like, you know what, Wicked is the musical, and I could hum you songs.
But so is Amelia Perez. I feel like if the musical wins here, it would probably
one thing of that score.
Mama, ba 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 ba. Ma na 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 no na na ma na.
That's the song though. That's not the score.
Well, isn't score with Wicked? Isn't I guess score technically
no,
part of the song? If Wicked's eligible.
The best thing in the Wicked score is not in the show. That's the part which she's falling and is seeing her younger self, and that piece of music is not in the original. So I could give you that, and I could hum that to you, but I think it's unfair. I don't know. Listen, I think Brutalist makes sense.
Brutalist.
I mean, I want it. It hasn't won anything. It hasn't like I expected.
Well, it's only been what, Golden Globe.
Yeah, so it has to build some momentum here.
It'll probably win BAFTA.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. Thank you, Danny. Thank you. Apparently people are talking about a Twitter video that
yard. Yes.
I have no clue, but just another thing to add to the Amelia Perez list. Who knows?
Excuse me. John Powell was nominated for How to Train Your Dragon, so this is his second.
Oh, awesome! That's a great score. Original song: El Mal, The Journey, Like a Bird, Mi Camino, and Never Too Late. It's going to be El Mal, which I was just humming because it's quite memorable, and it's the best moment of that film, which is the nomination leader, and it's also connected to an actress that is probably winning supporting actress. So,
yes, good call on Elton John. I'll give you your
thank you
for that.
Yeah, he's Elton John.
Man, I mean, listen, I love this category most years. Like
thank God they're not performing them, honestly. Many
of the performances of years past. I mean, some of my favorite moments growing up are like when Let It Go won. It's just like this is an embarrassment.
Not good. You would think in a year with musicals like getting 10 nominations, 13 nominations, there would be great songs in here.
But you know what? I respect it because you know what Wicked didn't do? Write an original song to get.
Well, they'll do that next time.
That's different. They have to take 45 minutes and make a 2-hour movie. I give them that. But I'm like, you know what? I at least respect that they didn't do like Les Mis. This show has 45 songs. You know what it needs? Another song.
Yeah. Well, I think Cynthia is going to EGOT next year with that song. So
the best thing you need to, that's right.
She's going to win first because she wrote it.
Yes. Well, listen, we all thought Lynn would have EGOTed by now, and look where we are.
True.
The best thing is that you need to Google is they wrote an original song for the Phantom of the Opera movie from 2004, and Beyonce sang the song to a Phantom of the Opera on stage at the Oscars. Google it. It's crazy.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah. That is crazy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. 2 songs from a musical that doesn't really have great music. A Diane Warren song, of
documentary
course,
song,
and then an Elton John movie that nobody knows. Like it's
not a good song though. Too, I'll say for an Elton John song too, it's not very good.
What was the song that he did for? So it was "I'm Gonna Love Me Again," but what was the Lion King one that he did? What was that one called?
Well, he did multiple Lion King songs, didn't he?
No, the one for the 2019 one, because I feel like it had the same title.
They did a new one for that?
For the end credits. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I don't know.
It was called...
was that the one Beyonce sang?
No, that was Spirit, which I like that song.
But
it was called Never Too Late. Is this the same goddamn song?
I thought this Lion King song was a Beyonce song.
It was. No, that was the song they submitted. But the Lion King song was called Never Too Late. Is this the same song?
He's just repeating. He just resubmitted it.
Have we discovered something? Am I
the don't think
person
so.
who remembers the Lion King 2019 credits?
You're the single only person. And now you're going to get him kicked out of this category.
I've already started melting. My apologies, or you're welcome to our audience.
Yes. Yeah, so it's just gonna be Elmo, I think. And Sing Sing getting in here was a nice little surprise, gave me a little hope for a second, but didn't work out in
Yeah,
the
I loved
end.
it when if you go back to the reaction, you're like, it's
I thought it
getting
was
in for picture. I was
well,
like, yeah,
it getting in here is like I just in the moment that made sense to me because if it was getting song, why wouldn't it get picture? But I guess not.
I don't know what to tell you.
Different branches. Moving on to is that everything? Oh no, documentary. Black Box Diaries, Northernland, Porcelain War, Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat, and Sugarcane. What was the miss here? No, Daughters. Daughters is a great documentary. That's one of the few that I've seen this year. That's sad. But Will and Harper also missed. So both the Netflix ones missed. Sorry, Netflix.
They're doing just fine today.
They're doing fine. They only got like 13 nominations with Amelia Perez or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what's probably gonna be. No Other
No
Land
Other
still
Land.
doesn't have a distributor though. It's like
Somebody should pick it up.
win.
Come on.
Somebody should. It's gonna like win documentary. Why wouldn't you want it? But who knows? I don't want this Oscar-winning film on my roster.
Yeah, wait, hang on. I want to bring up Shay's comment.
Yeah.
I never
Which
thought
one?
I'd like to see a
Diane
world where
Warren.
Diane Warren might
Yeah.
actually be the people somebody are rooting.
But I'm sure she's pissed that they're not performing them at the ceremony live. I'm sure
No,
she's mad.
that'll help her. I don't know because I remember.
Well, they don't vote live afterwards.
When Sophia Carson came on and sang, what was it? What was the song? It was from
The Hot Cheetos one. Oh
no,
that was last year.
Sophia Carson sang the song from "Tell It Like a Woman." I don't know if that was the song title or the movie title, but like we were all like, "What is this?" It felt as weird as the Zack Snyder Justice League fan favorite moment did. And so I don't know. Maybe listen. If Diane Warren is good, I honestly give it to her. Give her a competitive win. I swear to God, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. El Mal's an all right song. It's just,
I don't. Yeah, I have no passion.
If only Barbie was this. Well, no, wait, Barbie won. I was thinking
Barbie won. So
if only I'm Just Ken was this year. Again,
they just separated them. Yeah. Nope. Yeah, it'll be her 15th loss. I do think she lost.
Though maybe she always thinks this is the year.
I think she lost her home in the fire too, so maybe that will. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but she's got an Oscar nomination, her 15th. Documentary short: Death by Numbers, I'm Ready, Warden, Incident, Instruments of a Beating Heart, and The Only Girl in the Orchestra. I think I went 2 or 3 for 5 here. No clue what's winning. I would say Instruments of a Beating Heart. There you go. That's what I'm going with.
I'll say The Only Girl in the Orchestra.
Makes sense. That's number 1 on Award Expert, so that's a good pick. International, I'm Still Here, The Girl with the Needle, Emilia Perez, The Seed of Sacred Fig, and Flow. Shout out Flow. Nothing too crazy here. The expected top 3, and then Girl with the Needle and Flow were I think like numbered like 6 and 7 for us, so that's not too crazy. I guess the miss was Vermiglio. So
and
the Italian branch.
Support.
That just felt too cool to me. Like if you look at the previous films that get in this category, that just feels like it's too cool for this branch. But I guess it turned out to be. But yeah, we got 2 Best Picture films here. I just do think Emilia Perez is the much stronger film. But I don't know. Do you think people who are voting for Emilia Perez in Best Picture are kind of like, well, let's give it to I'm Still Here here?
Do this every year.
But it's also in Best Picture.
If you think it's the best,
no, I know. I hate this take.
Then you're voting for it in this category. This is a Best Picture category. I don't understand the logic of.
I know.
People don't think like that.
No, I don't like that argument either. I just had to. I had to throw it out there because it will be made throughout the entire season. But I do just think it'll be Emilia Perez. 13 nominations. That's 10 more than I'm Still Here. But yeah,
the movie I would pick is not one that nobody's talking about. So it's
Which one would you pick?
Seed of Sacred Fig by far.
I haven't seen that yet.
So
I would vote for.
I love I'm Still Here, and if that won, I would be very happy as well. I think both those films are, I think they probably will both end up in my top 10. They're excellent.
Spoiler alert.
So yeah, spoiler alert.
If we ever get coming soon, we have more time now. I think we're in a dead zone now. Thankfully.
But Seed of Sacred Fig is excellent. If you haven't, because I feel like I'm Still Here, it's gotten its flowers. If this is my moment to say go see Seed of Sacred Fig, please do. It is thrilling.
Is it in theaters? How does one watch it?
I saw it at Lincoln Center. So I think it's been some smattering of theaters. You should be able to rent it soon, but it is just absolutely brilliant. And in many ways, it actually would probably make a great double feature with I'm Still Here, because I'm Still Here is very much about this political unrest and how it affects this one home. And that's very much what See the Sacred Fig is. It's basically set in one house for a large majority of the film, as is I'm Still Here. They actually are really interesting looks at the world in different corners of the globe, kind of going through similar things. So
Yeah.
please watch both. Watch
I
movies
want
not
to
in
see
English
it.
language.
Yes, please, please. Even ones that don't include language, like Flow. I think. Oh no, production design. Here it is. The Brutalist, Conclave, Doom Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. Probably Wicked, especially now that Brutalist has the AI thing against it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that would be
Wicked.
interesting if Brutalist can mount, if any other movie can mount a campaign. But I don't know. I think the fact that you attempt recreating Oz on screen and they pulled it off, I think gets you a lot of credibility.
Yeah. Agreed. Is that the last one? Oh no, sound. I keep thinking we're on the last one. No, we've still got more to go. We're still going, guys. A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot, which is the big surprise there. I feel like that was like probably like ranked last, maybe second to, I think Joker was also shortlisted here, so probably second to last in this category. So that's a fun surprise. Taking out what missed here? Oh, Gladiator 2. That's not too insane. Gladiator 2 only got one nomination. So that last spot was definitely up in the air. And the winner is trickier. I'm gonna say Emilia Perez.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because I have it getting editing.
Yeah, I would say Emilia Perez, then Wicked, then Dune, then A Complete Unknown, and then Wild Robot.
Do you think? Oh wait, never mind. I was gonna say if A Complete Unknown could do a Bohemian Rhapsody, it wasn't nominated in editing.
I don't see Dune winning anything other than visual effects. I think that's the one it will win, because it's undeniable. Maybe, but maybe something can happen. But I think that seems pretty, like, Avatar 2 won. Like they're fine with sequels in that category. With sound, they proved last year that they can go off on these fun, exciting picks. And so they could happen here. It's funny, we have two
animated films get sound. That's crazy.
Yeah, we have two action musicals here, and so
we do.
What could happen? It's, I don't know. Again, let's see.
I would say Emilia Perez.
We got to see what happens with that film.
We do. Speaking of visual effects, Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked.
And remember, to all of you, we do not vote for the Oscars. We are not giving any awards to Emilia Perez.
No, we are not. No, we would not personally. You'll see our own personal awards soonish.
I would love to see what we would agree on. Like, what categories would you give me Wicked for? If the two of us got to pick,
Grande and Narivo, probably. I don't know. If there's only 5 spots for actress, I don't know. But
you'd give me Grande to win.
To win, no, for a nomination. Yes.
No, that's what I'm talking about. If this
for
was
a win,
ballot, if we had to pick.
Actually, probably, given the options on this ballot. So yeah, I would give you Grande. I don't know who else I would pick. I like Jones. Rossellini's fine.
You have to see Torres and then come back to me. I think you're gonna love Torres. And Torres is
I probably will. Probably. But I think we both agree on Dune here. And I think most of the Academy will as well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, the only thing, I just don't think any of these other movies, I don't think Planet of the Apes ever really mounts a campaign for why this year is the year to give it to them.
No,
and I think without the Andy Serkis component, I think they just are lacking this sort of like momentum here with this one. Alien Romulus was definitely very happy to see get nominated, but again, I struggle to see like what was inventive about that. Better Man, I just think is too small of a movie. I do think it's a little weird for people are it's like what is this?
Way too weird.
And then Wicked is Wicked. If it builds its awards wins in a unprecedented way, it could pick this up along, but I don't think so. Along the Yellow Brick Road, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I feel like it's just easily going to be Dune. I think that is it. We've done it. We've completed all of it. If you guys have any last minute takes or questions to throw in the chat, we can quickly talk about that. The one thing I wanted to ask you back at actor is usually actors win. If they win actor, you look at all of the recent ones, they also win one other category. I feel like that's obvious with The Brutalist. Will win multiple other things. With Timothy, what else would a Complete Unknown win if he won?
Supporting actor.
I don't think so.
You told me a hypothetical. That is a hypothetical.
I know. I'm just like,
I'm not saying it's going to happen.
That has me wondering. I think I might still stick with Brody then. But
Complete
yeah,
Unknown might be your Elvis.
it might be. Very well, might be. Who's the runner up to EP? I think it's The Brutalist and EP for who's going to win Best Picture right now.
It could be, and I think both of us feel right now it's Brutalist EP. Right?
I think I'm going to do Amelia Perez.
Amelia Perez.
I'm going to stick with Amelia Perez, yeah.
And I want to listen. I don't take away the nominations that it got and the people that are awarded with that. But Amelia Perez getting 13 is because it had 2 songs, score, and international feature.
Imagine if sound was split up still.
And yes,
it would have gotten. And imagine if sound was split up and Gomez got in, it would have broken the record.
My wish for that still having been the case, because then if Oppenheimer was allowed to be in visual effects where it belonged and sound was split up, then it would have had the record and it would have gotten 15. But now you're right. I do not wish to be in that world. I just think that in the end, like, listen, Amelia Perez had the categories that it benefited from. Whether that will start a new form of backlash, I don't know. But I continue to believe that the people who are connecting with it feel like they're connecting with it for the right reasons. And that I perceive that the people who, if it continues down this path, it's that they believe that the critiques are not as big as the people who are critiquing are making them out to be. I think that will be interesting to see how the people who are loving the movie respond to the critiques, because now we're going to be in our first realm where we're going to see the impact of the critical discourse around it. This was happening before, I think, film Twitter was really making this the villain of the award season. So we're going to see a switch, but that switch didn't happen yet. If it's going to switch, it's going to happen now.
Yes, agreed. Can Ariana Grande win? Yes, for sure. She's definitely got a path. Which film will win nothing at the Oscars if you had to pick? Out of these, Nora could easily win nothing if it misses screenplay. Brutalist will win something. A Complete Unknown, as we just said, Timmy is probably its only shot, I'd say. Conclave will have screenplay for sure. Dune will have VFX for sure. Amelia Perez will definitely win something. I'm Still Here. Torres is really its only shot, I would say.
Nickel Boys is the answer to this question.
Nickel Boys could win adapted screenplay. It could. And The Substance and Wicked will both win some tech categories at the very least. So Nickel Boys, I'm Still Here, and Anora are your best shot at winning nothing, I would say. And I think that is it for questions. So thank you all for watching.
Why can't we have a stunt ensemble for each movie?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think they've talked about it. I think we've been getting closer to that in the past couple of years. I think this is what, the casting, them announcing it so long ago, and they're still trying to figure it out, is just like, how do you determine what the qualifications are? Like, what merits the award? And who then gets nominated? For stunt ensemble, I would imagine it's just the stunt coordinator, the person at the top of the team. I imagine there's a lot of people who are weighing in because, we just talked about Amelia Perez and like the awards totals that you can get. There might be some people that feel like, well, my movie is going to look worse because there are going to be some like Wicked could have gotten stunt ensemble. Amelia Perez might have gotten stunt ensemble with this crowd, because I don't think, some of the movies that
are throwing the casting for next year. Someone mentioned.
I think that might be the hesitance with some people, is that they feel that it will give an undue advantage to some of the movies that they want to not bring into this conversation. I don't know. To me, it doesn't make sense. These are people that literally are putting their lives on the line for film, and they should be awarded.
I think
so.
I think the issue with that category that they're probably running in with is it's hard to qualitatively figure that out. Like, what's the best stunts? Like, you don't want someone to be like risking their life more than they should just for the sake of getting an Oscar nomination or win. And like, when you look at like best production design, you can very easily see that in the film, or best like costume design, makeup. When you're talking about best stunts, it's a little harder to figure out, I would say. But who knows? I think it will come soon. They only add in that category like once every decade, it seems. But I think this one would probably be stunts after casting. And someone also asked what would win casting if it was this year. Wicked.
Wicked.
Maybe, or Amelia Perez. I'd say one of those two, probably.
I think that. Well, the interesting thing about casting is that, like, again, we have to see what they're going to respond to, because to me, like, if it was 2021, like, do you lean towards Dune because you're casting this large ensemble? Do you like lean towards like West Side Story because you're casting iconic characters and making it feel fresh again? Or do you lean Don't Look Up because this is an original movie that had all these big movie stars? Like, are you going to lean movie star? Or are you going to lean, newcomers? Like, what's harder? The fact that they found Mark Eidelstein for Honora, or that they cast Ariana Grande in Wicked? What's more deserving?
Or
To
the
me,
complete unknown people casting
yeah.
real life people.
It's tough. I think that what you would look to maybe is there being a correlation with whatever wins SAG Ensemble, and the casting award might just being representative of what is the best ensemble in a given year. So I guess this year it's down to Wicked or Amelia Perez because that's what's likely going to win SAG Ensemble.
Yeah, that will be a fun category to predict next year. Our first very time doing casting. Who knows? That will be so unpredictable. But yeah, that is everything. Thank you all for watching with us in this long live stream, breaking it all down. It's the big day of the entire season, besides the actual big day. So yeah, comment your thoughts on all the nominations, your biggest surprises, snubs, all that stuff, who you think is winning in some of these close call categories. Yeah, and next live,
we'll be around.
We want to do more live streams. We'll be around. We are doing Critics' Choice Awards. I'm sure we can do something for that. We can maybe do predictions for that soonish. I think that's in early February. We could do a live stream for that. And we're also going to be doing our end of the year awards thing soonish as well. And that will probably be a live stream as well. So that will be an insane one. That will be probably longer than this one has been. So there'll be a lot to talk about for that. So we'll have some live streams coming up soon, some videos as well. We'll be giving our top 10s of the year. We have some video ideas now that the nominations are out. So yeah, some stuff will continue to come even though the nominations are out and we've got 5 weeks left. So stay tuned, subscribe to watch all that stuff if you have not. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.